the organizer of the United Nations NGO CSW Forum 68 parallel event themed Caretaking Industry, Enhancing the Economic Opportunity and Gender Equality for Women in Aging Society. Welcome all the participants who are here at Mailing Hall, online from Taiwan, and from different parts of the world. And our sincere appreciation and gratitude of the honorary speaker, Honorable Madame Edna Adan Ismail, all the speakers, Professor Kamozawa, Director Lily Chen, and her co-worker, Mr. Billy Yang, Supervisor Shi Yiyan, Professor Chuan Jiu Zhou, Zhou Chuan Jiu, and the keynote speaker, Dr. Joanna Lei, Chairwoman of the National Women's League of the Republic of China. We take this event an opportunity to share ideas and to seek new directions among different cultures and for one of the extremely important issues of our time, caretaking for the elderly. And we like to explore new horizons of gender equality for our tomorrows. Welcome and thank you. Let us give ourselves a round of applause for the opening and a successful and fruitful event. Now I present the moderator, Ms. Yang Xinxin.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning and welcome. I'm Xinxin Yang, the operator. I'm from Zhangta International, which is one of the co-organizers of this event. The other three are Young Women Christians Association of Taiwan, R.O.C, and Girl Scouts of Taiwan, and the Chinese Women Business Association in Taiwan. Today is our greatest honor to invite Madame Edna Adam Ismail, former First Lady from Somaliland and a champion of women's rights and health, as our honorary speaker. Due to time difference, she will meet us virtually later in the session. It is our honor today to have 4 distinguished academics and professionals to share with us their observations, experiences, research findings, and their proposals to issues relating to senior care in this aging society. I believe we will all be empowered, inspired, and motivated after their presentations. Now, speakers and participants, it's my great honor to present our keynote speaker for today, Dr. Joanna Lei. Dr. Lei is a dynamic woman leader in Taiwan with career accomplishments stretching from education, media and communications, finance and business investments, politics and public affairs. She is an articulate commentator on major political and economic events worldwide and also in Taiwan. She is also a China watcher. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Lei. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Xinxin, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our participants in Taipei and around the world. It is indeed my pleasure to be here to share some observation and my thoughts with you on pressing issues relating to our time. When we pick this topic, caretaking industry enhancing economic opportunity and gender equality for women in aging society, it is to put ourselves in the forefront and center stage to resolve one of the most pressing and urgent issues facing all nations around the world. When we put that in the context of women and gender equality, we started to look at different kinds of solutions. Next, please. So I'm going to share some of the thoughts in the sequence of looking at where we've been, how far have we gone towards gender equality, looking at the universal challenge towards an aging society, and looking at caretaking as an industry, not as caretakers or caretaking as a job that you present to your neighborhood or your families, but as an industry, and look at the economic opportunities within it. And the last part is a challenge to women leaders around the world. That is how we exert the leadership in resolving this issue. Next, please. So let me begin by recounting how far we've come. As a woman who's worked in Asia, in Europe, and in the United States, I've observed different societies combating different issues, and Africa, which is not an afterthought because it's a very, very pressing issue towards women equality there. I observed different societies combating different kinds of inequalities, from blatant to latent, from overt to covert. So let me just quickly bring us through that history. At the very beginning, a lot of places were fighting for simply equal rights, to be recognized as equal. So in the United States, you have suffrage, right to vote. In other places, we need to have the right to decent, equal representation. So you have a lot of systems have quota system dictating women has to be, say, a quarter of their parliament. Other places are fighting for equality in somewhere around the socioeconomic system or socioeconomic status equality, such as right to education, such as the right to work and to equal pay. In another, more subtle ways, more advanced societies started looking at the more latent and covert kinds of power relationship issues. We talked about glass ceilings. We combated sexual harassment. We looked at employer providing childcare so that women can be unleashed in the workforce, and so on and so forth. And more overt and more latent issues revolved around equality in the system or structure, such as the funding available to medical research or to health care. So we've come a very long way, but the quest continues. Next, please. So now we are looking at a universal issue and look at how women could try to be a very big part or even center part of that solution. That is the aging society challenge facing many, many societies, or if you may want to be bold and blunt, to all societies. How the senior population is perceived often dictate the kinds of solutions and directions, and the directions will dictate policy and allocation of resources. If you think of seniors as a demographic group, then you look at their care, their medical needs, and so on and so forth. So there are different kinds of arrangements and perspectives for that issue. So let me just quickly outline four. The first one is demographic approach, and many of the places taking that approach would have dedicated senior long-term care policies, and many of them will evolve around the medical needs and caretaking needs. From a person still able to the terminal stage, there will be different kinds of arrangements. Another approach is family-centric approach taken by countries like Singapore. Singapore still put the senior population back into their family and try to build support group supporting the entire family, and then putting the senior population in the most comfortable positions and most comfortable environments. Social-centric approach are taken by many welfare state the state take a huge responsibility, providing general and universal care so that that demographic group can be taken care of by a collective effort. And then certainly there were many mixed approach. Next, please. So let me think a little bit about why we're talking different approaches here. In addressing aging society, governments and individuals may often have different priorities, and in more recent years, we started looking at these kind of differences being expressed in different models and different solutions, such as universal access. Will everyone be afforded an elderly care when needed? And the second one is quality of care. Is that care of quality? Third one is the more broader spectrum of quality of life for the senior population. And the fourth one, oftentimes, is a discussion on how society perceives that population and the self-worth of senior population, oftentimes being used in UN and other places, their reason for being. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm 65 years old. So by definition, I am part of that senior population. I care about how the society look at me. Maybe some of you are of my generation, so us. And I also care about how we look at ourselves, how we are still part of a bigger world and not part of a bigger problem. So in that sense, we started seeing that there is a disconnect. Most governments, if you look at government policies, they will go through 1, 2, 3, 4 in that rank order. And their allocation of resources is primarily on the top one, because government's responsibility is to make sure that no one is left behind. So you will see them delivering care to a general population as their primary goal, and most of the resources is dedicated to that. But if you look at from the other point of view, which is the other triangle that is now blocked, you cannot really see, it's most individuals, say for me, and hopefully for some of you, we are not looking at a stage that you go into a facility or to a community center and simply being served. We're looking at the quality of life in this age, and we're also looking at how we may still be part of the society and still have a great reason for being. So the individual's perspective in terms of how they look at the world will be a reversed, so it's a triangle in the reversed order from the government. We gradually are moving into looking at self-worth, how the senior population may be a part of a bigger world and not a bigger problem. Next page, please. So to bridge the gap, putting the two together, next page, please. Bringing the two perspectives together, I think we should revisit our models of what elderly care means. 什么是长照? The existing models in many places have up to 3 rings of care. The center one will be facility-based with the highest level of care, then expanding to community-based care, and furthermore to home-based care. So it's delivering the needed services to individuals from a central hub to distributed nodes and then to individuals. Most of the medical care system and most of the long-term care government policies would consist these 3 layers. But I'd like to bring some new and developing models to your attention. And some of these will be presented by today's panelists in the following hour and a half. One is senior-centric or mixed generation co-op type of elderly care model. And the second one that we will be highlighting today is a community-based kind of project. A community decided to do something together, and that community will combine different generations of different age groups to do something that is meaningful or helpful to others or helpful to care for our environment. So these will be presented in today's session. And that is why we have invited these speakers. Next page, please. When we expand the scope of aging society solutions, we also unveil a mosaic of possibilities. And that is the combination of aging society and gender equality. The link in between is generally opportunities and specifically economic opportunities. That becomes a linchpin of the two. When we expand the scope of aging society, the new opportunities presents, such as if we extended caretaking in our definition, then there will be new job opportunities. If we have senior co-ops being wrapped into the overall spectrum, the locally based and environmentally friendly opportunities will present themselves. If we start to look at shared jobs or mixed generation job opportunities, then we're unleashing a whole slew of workforce from my generation, the so-called senior population, quote unquote. And then more recently, Taiwan is promoting that for everyone, for every one of us to build a pseudo family, which may not be related to you in blood, but related to you in life. So once you have that circle of friends being built, then the quality of life, not just quality of care, will be enhanced. So the overall priorities of the governments and individuals will gradually move towards each other and present a universal and comprehensive world for the senior population and thereby addressing the aging society issue. Next page, please. To do that, we certainly need to have a new way of approaching this issue, new government policy, new allocation of resources. We need new architecture, like building a new house. You need new architecture of at least 4 elements. The first one is government infrastructure or program, including ICT and AI, the more recent developments for caretaking industry, because that will be the foundation of your new architecture. And then we need dedicated resources from public, private, or NPO NGOs. These dedicated approaches or resources can direct towards specific programs. Once those programs are established, they become models or best practices to be extended to other places or other societies. The third one, which is often overlooked, is you need sufficient change agents. Society doesn't change itself. Some places you have very locally non-mobile population. For them to move into a different way of care, you need to have individuals, change agents who bring them along. And that is especially important in rural and underserved communities. So we not only need to have an overall structure, we not only need to have dedicated resources, we need to have change agents. That human intervention, which is so critical and so important and so suitable for a lot of women who are already doing caretaking in their communities. And the fourth one is cultural and social change, how we look at the senior population, how the society is organized around all age groups and not just before 65. Oh, I'm saying 65 because I got my first card. And when I got my first senior card, I was telling myself, okay, now I belong to a different class. The society needs to be, in certain ways, age indifferent. In a way, to believe that your senior population still have a lot to contribute and not just waiting to be cared for. Next page. So before I close, let me say a few words. This is not just a leading issue, it's also a lagging issue. For the most advanced society to the most lagged societies, you would have the same challenge, but they will require different solutions. Similarly, these opportunities will present to different types of women, different challenges and different opportunities. For example, highly skilled women who can be in government, in managerial positions, to be coordinators and supervisors of new invented services. They can also be frontline operators, bringing their experiences and skills to the people who needed mentoring, coaching, or simply be a lawyer, accountant in these new organizations. But for the non-skilled and non-mobile women, especially those who are homebound or village-bound, caretaking industry worker can change their current position as simply a non-paid caretaker into a wage-earning caretaking industry worker if we set up an organization that allows them to still care for her neighborhood, but being paid. So from non-paid to paid, from non-wage earning to wage earning, that will enhance their economic opportunity and thereby enhance their gender equality to a large extent. When I worked in USAID and UNESCO for the poverty issues, I often see economic opportunity being the last threshold to cross. Others are easier to cross, but to give equal economic opportunity will unleash their current situation to a large extent. Or they can be small or micro business owners. Someone is taking 3, 4, 5 elderly, taking care of, or baking breads for the neighbors. Now they can form a micro business, properly funded, having a monetary exchange, and started practicing their business skills and get funding from a lot of NPO, NGOs around the world. They can also be local change agents to bring different way of thinking, different way of living into their society. So with that, let me quickly go through some of the histories of National Women's League from our founder. Next page. She believed that we are not fighting for rights, we are shouldering equal responsibilities. So these are some of the pictures that her personal endeavors have affected the world. She built wartime hospitals, orphanages, childcare. She actually co-founded the first wartime children camp, saving around 30,000 children during the Second World War in mainland China. She led a group that built housing for military personnel and their families, orphanages. And the last one, I'd like to point out, we trained women to have job skills so that they can earn money, to have economic opportunity and greater equality. We also trained nurses, public health helpers, so that they can go to all communities and villages to help them build the new way of life. So that is, in every sense of the word, change agent in the making. Next page, please. In recent years, the National Women's League followed the legacy and built hearing aid and hearing health foundation for special needs children. We did elderly care. We continue to operate schools, orphanages. And a lot of our senior members continues to be active participants of all of our work. Some of them are here today, but I also presented their picture. They didn't allow me to tell you their exact ages, but some of them are 90 years plus, 90 years old plus. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to rethink what senior population means. We need to rethink what senior population can and will do for the world. So finally, next page. Let me put a few words for the women leaders in this room and around the world. We have 3 challenges. Gender equality is what we fight for. Aging societies is what the world fight for. And what the world tomorrow is our collective vision will bring us to. So in that core, leadership in designing a brave new world is our calling, or should be our calling. So ladies and gentlemen, the universal challenge of aging society requires creative solutions. It provides an opportunity for women leaders around the world to reimagine and redesign our collective future. One that will not only provide quality of life for senior population, but also economic opportunities for women in all walks of life, in all types of or levels of skill levels. By taking such an active position, a leadership position, we also move the gender equality issue into the highest political sphere, breaking yet another glass ceiling. We've come a long way. Now is a time to break another glass ceiling. The next page is an AI-generated picture of a large group of people helping each other. And that is what our future is. Whether related in blood or not, we can build a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lei, for enlightening us with your in-depth presentation. We all learned a lot. Some note here, we have a translation service, simultaneous translation service here in this room. So anybody who needs the device, please raise your hands and our colleagues will help you. 我们现场有现场翻译，如果大家需要耳机的话，请举手一下，我们同仁会帮助你去拿取。Our first speaker today is Dr. Saori Kamozawa, Associate Professor of the Social Welfare Department of Japan's Nihon University. Dr. Saori will speak from New York, where she is attending the CSW Forum as a member of the Japanese delegation. Dr. Kamozawa is also an experienced social worker focusing on issues relating to people expelled from the society. She has done great research work on the homeless and women with mental issues. Now, Dr. Kamozawa, the floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Lei. So I'm very impressed by your presentation. So hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to the National Women's League, R.O.C. Taiwan event today. I'm very great honor to be here talking to you and share Japanese experience. This event's topic is caretaking industry, enhancing economic opportunity and gender equality for women in aging society. So I'd like to talk about how active women senior can contribute to promote social protection system in care infrastructure. So please move to my PowerPoint. Okay, thank you very much. So okay, move on next, please. Before starting, let me introduce myself. My name is Saori Kamozawa. I belong to Tokyo 3 Zonta Club, JAWW, working at Nihon University, Tokyo, and teaching social welfare and social work. So I'm now in New York, taking part in CSW 68. So as a member of the Parliament Mission of Japan to the UN. So right-hand side photographs is me and my mom. So I experienced care for my mom and auntie. My mom started to stay with me until she died, and we used care insurance system. She died in 91 a few years ago. My auntie lived in a private care home, and I was her legal guardian. I struggled to balance full-time work and caregiver. However, many care professionals supported me, and both passed away a few years ago. I'm very appreciative for caregivers. So always caregiver told me, don't quit your job. So we help you. So you need to work. So and live with your mom. So very appreciate. So move on next. Okay, so therefore I want to talk about some of topic and women's perspective about active senior and care work. So these contents, as you can see, will include. So move on next, please. Okay. So you can see many times of the Japanese life expectancy graph, but since the end of Second World War, Japan's life expectancy has continued to increase. So in 2022, it was 81.47 for men and 87.57 for women. And Japan has become one of the leading nations in terms of long life expectancy. So the percentage of people aged 65 and over has also been increasing, and again is among the highest in the world. Move on next. Okay. So Japan's move towards a super-aged society is due to the combination of the demographic factors, including very low fertility rates and steady increasing in life expectancy that is enabled by advanced medical science, medical care, improved nutrition, and living conditions. So people who are born in 2020 will reach 90, is half of the women. So move on next, please. So negative aspects of an aging society have been stressed over the last decade. So however, here we will look at more positive aspects of aging and aging in Japan. So turning a negative into a positive. So many women aged over 65 and are healthy and motivated. Therefore, I'd like to introduce 4 ways to rethink aging: employment and income, health and welfare, living environment, care industry, and ikigai. Move on next, please. So recognizing that older people are getting younger in the situation of physical age and are highly motivated to get involved in society, mean that classifying the over 65s older people by their age alone is no longer realistic. Half of the over 65 can be categorized as active senior, but active senior is right-hand side, the left-hand side by government, defensive senior, but similar type of the senior. The right-hand side, 24.6% is more healthy and lively. The two groups combined, so they are healthy and can contribute to society. So therefore, the government of Japan is implementing various measures to create an age-free society in which people of all ages can make use of their motivation and ability depending on their hopes and aspirations. Please move on next slide. According to survey, about 36% of seniors want to work for income. Some elderly need money for living expenses, but some want to use their ability to contribute towards society. Working means they want to feel that they belong to society and their communities. On the other hand, 40% of care facilities are facing shortage of human resources, so they welcome seniors in care work. Move on next, please. So in fact, the survey shows 69.1% of the facility had staff aged over 65, with over a quarter of home visit caregiver in that age group. In the long-term care insurance system, the biggest number of care workers work in the life support at their home. They are mainly women. So the average annual salary for caregiver with at least 2 years of experience stood at about 3.76 million yen. So about $25,000, which is not high. Move on next, please. So look at Japanese long-term care insurance system. This one was installed in 2000 years. There, residential service with dementia, in-facility service, day services, home visit services, and short-stay services. So Japan Universal Health Insurance System dated to 1961. So public-private regime provide a standard of health care, and the user costs are relatively low compared to other advanced countries. So government provide long-term care and health care. So community care, often by voluntary or some NGO, NPO. Move on next, please. So at its core, for the life of seniors, ikigai is a Japanese term as a translate to a reason for being. It represents the intersection of 4 primary elements. What do you love? Your passion. What the world needs? Your mission. What you are good at? Your vocation. What you can be paid for? Your profession. So seniors' work for society is a necessary part of ikigai. So it helps seniors' mental health as well as their general health and protects their dignity in society. They work not for money, but for the next generation or to make society better. It also helps to aid mutual understanding between young and old. So next, please. So this one, other aspect of importance relating to how seniors live. Collective housing refer to the apartment or any other residential living. So they are used by a group of people without any family or blood relationship. Multi-generational cohabitation is common, with everyone helping each other within the in-house community. That is different from community help each other. So this is a big house. So inside of house, they help each other. So right-hand side is in Swedish co-housing. They said one of the goals is to increase access to attractive indoor aspect by abstraining from some private spaces in favor of common rooms. So they share the garden or big common spaces. So in Japan, left-hand side is photographs, it's Japanese one. In Japan, some housing company has started to build these houses in Tokyo. Facilities share a common meals, playrooms for children, hobby rooms, guest room, and exercise rooms. The senior women can support young family or a single mother family, and younger family help old single women's residents for shopping or help small problem at her own room time to time. So mutual help to promote is promoted in collective housing. So it is important to get the balance of residents' rights. Although there are challenges, it can be considered as one way for the elderly to live at home with dignity. So next, please. Most care provided by long-term care insurance is given to the over 85. So elderly age over 85 or over likely to need livelihood support, especially cleaning house, washing, cooking, shopping, and so on. Shortage of professional care workers in Japan, active senior can provide livelihood support, paid or sometimes voluntary. Recently, the government has started to promote the age-free society, as I mentioned, and encourage seniors to support for the elderly. Next, please. When seniors work in care industry, what is the benefit for senior? Senior can contribute to society, which create a sense of belongings. They can do paid work as livelihood support services supporters and earn money, which is helpful for long life in their future. In care industry, due to the personnel shortages, professional carer concentrate on those who need the greatest care. An aging population is a challenge to the whole of society in Japan. At the same time, it offers an excellent opportunity to create age-free society. With women living longer, opportunity for active senior women will become greater actor. Okay, move on next, please. Okay. Lastly, care work and feminization need rethink because most care work has been provided by women, paid or unpaid. This can lead to poverty for many women, so low wages or unpaid. So the government wants to employ senior women cheaply or supplementary as caregiver. However, without improvement in care infrastructure and greater investment care industry by public fund, gender stereotypes reinforce, which will drive greater inequality in care industry. According to UN Women, social protection policies and programs are not gender or care sensitive, but primarily target women in their roles as mother. So therefore, social protection and care in CSW 68 in 2022 here in New York has been discussing. When senior women want to work in care industry, it is important that ikigai working can contribute for society. It needs to improve their dignity. Also, I'd like to point out that empower senior women not to use cheaper caregiver and shouldn't reproduce gender inequality in care in Japan. So move on next. Thank you very much. This photographs in the first day of CSW 68. So I'm very happy to say, present from here in New York to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kamozawa. Sharing your personal experience of taking care of your mother has added a human touch to your presentation. The topic of our next presentation is the female participation and gender equality in community care industry. The content was prepared by Lily Chen, Director of Social Work of the Red Cross in Taiwan. During her 22 years of service at the Red Cross, Lily has participated in countless domestic and foreign aid programs and worked work programs. In 2019, she founded the home-based long-term care institution under the supervision of the Red Cross. She also serves as the director of the institution. And we are also glad that Billy Yang, Lily's co-worker in the Department of Communications and Development of the Red Cross, to do the presentation on her behalf.
大家早安，我是陈怡丽。那等会会由我的同事杨浩天这边来做报告。
Thank you, Director Lily, and my name is Billy. Director Lily is delighted to have the opportunity to share with you today, drawing upon the extensive experience of the Red Cross in care industry, the issues surrounding female participation and gender equity. The global concern regarding the aging population has garnered scientific attention in recent years, emerging as a permanent national security issue worldwide. According to the World Social Report, the number of individuals aged 65 and above globally has surpassed 700 million, with projection indicating a staggering increase to 1.6 billion in 2050. Since 1993, Taiwan has been steadily transitioning towards what is termed an aging society. Over this period, the population of individuals aged 65 and above has escalated from 7% to over 14% of total population by 2018, solidifying Taiwan's status as aging society. Projection from the National Development Council estimate that by 2025, this demographic will surpass 20%, making the transition to a super age society, where 1 in every 5 individuals will be seniors. This swift progression from aging to super age is indeed remarkable, occurring within just 7 years. The rapid aging trend in Taiwan underscores the importance of proactive measures. In response, the government initiated the 10-year long-term care plan in 2008, followed by the enactment of the Long-Term Care Services Act in 2015. Since 2017, the 10-year long-term care plan 2.0 has been implemented. The nurse aid provided by the Red Cross commenced even earlier than those initiated by the government. At the heart of the international Red Cross movement lie core missions of disease prevention and health promotion. Our involvement dates back in 1950s and 1960s, where we pioneered medical rescue and health care initiative. Subsequently, in 1977, we expand our effort to include promoting family health through coaching and support. During the crucial developmental stages of nursing aid, we are fortunate to receive support from Taiwan Semiconductor Educational Foundation from 2001 to 2003, followed by backing from the National Women Legends of the Republic of China from 2004 to 2017. This remarkable 13-year support period played a pivotal role in advancing the nursing aid training and service program. This fund for this projection was allocated across 3 components. Professional staffing, which means that we will hire professional social work or nursing staff. Training, we provide the training to the middle-aged and elderly unemployment individual in a specialized skill. And service provision, we established a volunteer service team to visit elderly individuals living alone and provide care and services. As you can see from the pictures, that's the service team that visit the elderly living alone and provide a blood pressure for them and also help them to do some housework. We also open a program for the social work we train for and also train for the middle-aged and elder unemployment individuals. The sustained support from the Women's Legion has been instrumental in the flourishing of our long-term care services, which have expanded across community nationwide over the past 2 decades. We have grew our service in community by establishing daytime care centers and home-based long-term care institutes, community care center, elderly service centers, education for long-term care personnel, community integrated service centers, and meal delivery services, as well as transportation shuttle services. As you can see from the pictures, it also shows that the elderly will go to the center to do some activities, table games, and we also teach them to do the exercise. Furthermore, we actively seek other resources. Since 2019, we have received funding support from United States Agency for International Development to implement training program in the community. However, family carers often find themselves taking on caregiving responsibility without any preparation or training. Their lack of familiarity with caregiving techniques, understanding of dementia, and improper handling techniques lead to physical discomfort, resulting in increasing stress level of these carers. Therefore, we have initiated nurse aid training program in community to encourage participation from the public in learning caregiving principle, knowledge, and skills. The decision to enter the care industry is influenced by various factors, including flexible schedules, accommodating family needs, prior experience in caring for elderly relatives, and the high demand for the nurse aid, leading to increased employment opportunities. As the research showed that the care industry, whether in professional setting or within families, is largely dominated by women, as 67% of elderly individuals who need help with daily tasks are mainly looked after by family members. And of those nurse aides, 65% are female. Moreover, approximately 80% of nurse aides are women, typically aged between 45 and 54 years old. Additionally, statistics from the nurse aid vocational training program indicate that 75% of trainees are female. Furthermore, in 2022, women compares 84% of the total nurse aid workforces. And the Red Cross also conduct a survey focusing on the nursing aid. Out of 620 response collected, the nurse aid ratio of male to female carriers are 1:9. Furthermore, 76% of respondents had previously served as primary or secondary nurse aid within their families. Among these nurse aides with prior family care experience, the distribution between the primary, secondary, or shared caregiving roles was fairly even. Most nurse aides has dedicated 1 to 5 years or over 10 years experience as family carers, each comparison roughly 1/3 of the total. The survey also showed only 6% of respondents do not bear household expenses, while the remaining 94% were respond for supporting their family financially. Notably, 1/3 of them served as a primary economic provider within their household. The changing demographic, particularly the advent of an aging society, are driving the development of the care industry. Unlike many other sectors, caregiving does not have strict age or educational requirements, makes it conducive for re-employment, especially for women seeking second careers. The economic scientifics of the care industry cannot be understated. Consequently, women who have left their jobs to become family carers find themselves well equipped with proficient caregiving skill and effective communication techniques after years of caregiving duties. When re-entering the workforce, the care industry becomes an attractive option, offering a competitive advantage over others. This transition not only fosters female employment, but also provides them with economic independence, thereby enhancing their status within their families. Thus, in conclude, we extend our gratitude to the National Women's Legion of the Republic of China for their foresight in supporting the development of nursing aid with the Red Cross 20 years ago. Their sustained support has enabled our service to flourish and it become deeply entrenched. The care industry stands as an optional choice for family carers seeking reintegration into society, offer increased economic benefit and career development opportunities. After 5 years of service, nurse aide can transit to become a home care supervisor, and those with a supervisory experience can venture into entrepreneurship. At the same time, it can alleviate the shortage of professional manpower in elderly care in an aging society and encourage more female family carers to re-enter the job market by choosing to invest in the care industry, create a win-win situation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lily and Billy, for introducing the well-established care system of the Red Cross. The care industry indeed offers traditional home carers, mainly women, an opportunity for employment, re-employment, and self-fulfillment. Our next speaker is Shi Yan, Supervisor of the Comprehensive Planning Section of the Foundation for Women's Rights Promotion and Development. Shi has been serving for more than 10 years in the foundation. In recent years, Shi has focused on ways to raise awareness of care work and women's contribution to the care economy. She also offers to build an equal and inclusive society through recognition of the value of care work and more investments in the care industry. Now, Shi, the mic is yours.
Thank you, moderator. And it's my great honor to be here. And I forgot to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our friends here in New York and also online. Okay. Can I switch to my slides? Okay. It's my great honor to be here to share the green care in Taiwan, how to empower women and also promote healthy aging. Okay. First of all, I would like to show you the population trend in Taiwan. And compared to European countries or United States, we face speedy aging in Taiwan. The situation may be similar to Japan. And according, just as our previous speaker mentioned, according to WHO's definition, Taiwan became an aged society in 2018, when the share of the population aged over 65 years old was exceeded 40%. And it is estimated that in 2025, next year, Taiwan will turn into super aged society, which means 1 in 5 persons will be 60 years or older. As you can see in this figure, among the 4 million senior population in Taiwan, women outnumber men. The life expectancy at birth of women is 83 years old, while its of men is 77 in 2022. In addition, women are often the main caregivers of the elderly in their families. That is to say, how to face aging and the care of the elderly is becoming a crucial issue in Taiwanese society, especially for women. And to address the aging society, our main policy include promoting the health and social participation of the senior, as well as enhancing intergenerational interaction, and connection. And one strategy to fulfill these goals is so-called green care. The green care model tries to combine the resource of agriculture and the healthy system to assist senior agents in place. In Taiwan, we have extensive network of farmers association in every city and counties. And since 2020, the government has actively encouraged local farmer association to build green care stations in their sites and train care providers to support the senior, especially in rural area, where the medical and social care resources are relatively scarce. As you can see in the left picture on the slide, currently we have over 100 stations around Taiwan. So what do we actually do in these stations to provide so-called green care? Firstly, for the elderly, the stations are nearby venue for learning together and eating together. Second, the staff and workers of farmer association integrate the green elements into both diet and curriculum. For instance, there is a community meal service at least once a week in every station. The meal offered are made with local ingredients. Also, the stations provide nutritional consultation to assist the elderly to maintain their health. Besides, the care provider also hold activities include gardening, green landscape, field study, or farming education to promote physical and emotional health for seniors. Okay, let's move on to group practice of green station in both central and eastern Taiwan. The first one is in Citong. Citong is an agriculture town in Yunlin in central Taiwan. Many young people have moved to other cities for work, and many seniors live alone. So the town has long faced severe aging. In order to enable the elderly to go out from home and to interact with others, the Citong Farmer Association began to engage in elder care 7 years ago. In 2020, it became the first green care station in Taiwan. Currently, there are over 50 elders gathering in the care station 3 days a week. The staff and the home economic advisors of the Farmer Association have designed various activities to establish connection between different generations in the town.
Recording
For example,
stopped.
the association worked together with local elementary schools on diet, which is close to the seniors' daily lives. Young farmers teach the students planting techniques about water Spanish, soybeans, garlic, etc., while the elderly teach their cooking skills of these local crops. There are more pictures of the Citong station in the slide, and you can see that the elders are enjoying the green activities and full of energy. So through these activities or community meal, the elderly share not only food culture, but also their life stories, as well as rediscover their self-worth. And the second one is the Fuley's practice. Fuley is a township located at the junction of Hualien and Taidong in eastern Taiwan. The name Fuley in Mandarin means rich. This is because it has beautiful mountain, clear water, and abundant crops. At the very beginning, the Fuli Farmer Association promotes organic agriculture for boosting local economy. For years, now Fuli has been the largest organic rice production area in Taiwan. Besides, with the idea of being in harmony with nature, Fuli has become the member of Satoyama Initiative in 2018. Regarding the implementation of green care, Fuli Town combines its natural resources, local knowledge, and tourism. For instance, to make its famous mud volcano tofu, locals add spring water from its special land-borne mud volcano to soy milk, and then tofu is condensed and settled with a dense and solid test. The workers of Green Care Station further organized the elderly as the guides of the local tours. Through telling the stories and traditions of these dishes or green culture to visitors, seniors, most of them are women, also gain the sense of belonging, achievement, and to be held. And in this slide, you can see pictures, more pictures in Fuli Green Station, and the seniors eat together and have different activities, and also be the guides of the local tours. Okay, in conclusion, Taiwan's community-based green care model promotes both elders' well-being and local employment, especially for women. On the one hand, the green curriculum or activities held by Farmers Association mobilize seniors to go out from home and to maintain their connections with others and the society, which make them not get old passively, but grow older actively. And the activities assist them to improve physical and mental health. On the other hand, the care providers of the local elderly include farmers associations, such as home economic advisors and supervisors, also youth returning from cities. Most of them are women. This community job increase women's opportunity to apply their expertise in agriculture, home economics, and care to accompany senior and help their healthy aging. The model combines local agriculture and care, the elderly and the youth to implement the economic, social, environmental sustainability, as well as women's empowerment and gender equality. Okay, that ends my presentation, and thanks very much for your listening.
Thank you, Shi, for your presentation on green care, which is very educational and informative. Our next speaker is Professor Chuanjiu Zhou, who will make the presentation virtually from Kaohsiung, Southern Taiwan. Chuanjiu Zhou is Associate Professor of the Department of Adult and Continuing Education of National Cheng Kung University. She had previously worked as a reporter for public television service, which took him to many countries to study the life of senior people. Today, Professor Zhou will share with us his 30 years of on-site observation and the learning of elderly care in Europe. Now, Professor Zhou, the mic is
Hello.
yours. Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
But can you
may I
use your
start?
voice a little bit, please? 请大声一点。
Is that better?
可以再大声一点吗？ Can you be a little bit louder, please?
I'm very close to the microphone. Is that better? So may I start?
Yes.
Hello. Okay.
It's good.
Okay, it's my honor to be here and say good afternoon to people in the guests in Taiwan, and morning in Africa, and good evening for the people in the United States. Here now I'm just present some concept that getting older is not always means getting weak. So I would like just to show some people which we thought is a new group of human resources for aging society, because all of us understand that we have get more and more burden and demand of people needed to be cared, but there is another group is well experienced, also can have a huge contribution if we support them. So please next. Normally, this is our image about long-term care. You will see a therapist in the left side, and normally the guest is like this, but that is not always true. Okay, next. In this picture is in Pingdong, southern Taiwan. When I was a reporter, I made a story about an old woman have a Parkinson and also with Alzheimer. But I invited some retired nurse. So this yellow and this one, 3, they are retired nurse, about 67 years old. But when they come back and to join to help people, so this daughter had ever been feel helpless and hopeless, but they got the professional people's help. And this one, 92 years old, is this yellow one's mother, also had ever been nurse. Even she suffered early stage of dementia, but still can give some suggestion to this client. So then we can see here, together stronger, and not everything is so bad. Okay, the next. And this one is when COVID-19 is severe, and I with retired nurse Chen Xiaorong, we in southern Taiwan, because there are many caregiver scared, and also the caregiver resident and their relatives scared, but not, because sometimes it's because they don't have enough medical knowledge. So we together to come there and to help them. So, and then people can have a peace and know what's the real good care, so people can support each other, not to be very lonely. Okay, next. The right one is a nurse supervisor in Hualien area for long-term care. In Northern Europe, we say visitator. In Taiwan, we say 长照督导, which means help a lot of nurses to go to people's home to do the visit, evaluate the function level, and give the home care service. This nurse had ever a very heavy traffic accident, so parallel in her body, but she still she still can work by wheelchair and go to different people's home to do the visit. So you can see even a person with a paralyzed, but still can work. And then now also she's over 60 years old, still help a lot of people. Okay, next. This one is in Nantou, which 3 elderly women over 80 years old, some of them are 85 years old. Normally we think they are weak, so we just ask them in traditional Chinese culture, just sitting there and enjoy their life. but actually they do have the potential. So when they can help each other, so the caregiver will not very upset says we don't have enough caregiver, because they empower, support the older woman can help each other, so they have a good social life, and they feel they can do something for this activity center. So that is very good. This also is good for their balance and strengths, and they have their motivation. Okay, next. This one is 93 years old, which is my church, because we have the Holy Communion. Some disabled people, mentally retarded people cannot move in front of the church. So this older woman can support them, help them. She go in front, go further to those people and help them. So you can see 93 years old still can do something. And the right side, just 2 days ago, this 93 years old handled 100 persons lunch. And so the yellow one is 73 years old. So which means when we see their potential, we support them so they can do something they are very familiar. So don't always think about that is dangerous, this is dangerous. So, and then they can do something for people is very good. Okay, next. This one is 86 years old, the nurse leader in Copenhagen, one of the 17 hospital. When I visit there, she do as a coach of practice for nurse from Armenia to learn hospice care. And I meet her, she says, "Come in, I'm listening," which means we always think to ask the nurse and to help the client, so the client feel they are be heard. So people see them. So this is very good. Even 86 years old still can to work for hospice, well experienced and very kind. Okay, next. And this one is when COVID-19 is very severe in Copenhagen, Denmark. Normally, all of the nursing home closed because they are afraid of infection. But one church invited a lot of women and men play music outside the nursing home. So the inside resident will not feel lonely, and they have a very good enjoy the time. So after the COVID-19, the resident of the nursing home still invited those people. The photo is 79 times of the visit. So which means if you want to help people, then both sides are win-win as a quality of life. Okay, next. And just as I mentioned, that choir in front of nursing home, this is 82 years medical doctor. She retired, but you can see she is very happy, was happy to drive the bicycle and come to join the choir, because she says the medical doctor is not only give the pills, and she understands the psychological dimension also is very important for people's health, mental health. So she joined to help them, and then when the choir is finished, the singing, then she come back with a happy mood. Okay, next. And this one is the blue uniform is a nurse with 42 years experience, and she help people in dementia in Finland, Somero, this area, because this nursing home take care of the caregiver and also take care of the resident, which means they have a very warm psychosocial environment. So the caregiver would like to work longer, and the experienced nurse is very beneficial for the resident, because they have a slow tempo talk and they can understand each other. So old is not always mean weak. Okay, next. This one is a 75 years old Finnish woman. Is a volunteer, and they are in the public library, and they help each other to do the brain gene So this is a very good prevention for free from dementia, but also it's very good for social part of life. So if you give their possibility to help each other, then they can help each other. So this is very good way for prevention. It's low cost, but people are happy. Okay, next. And this one is in Norway. Normally, the nursing home, you will see a lot of people sitting there. But in this place, normally in 10 o'clock in the morning, the nurse, the caregiver together dance with the older people. Most of the older people are over 90 years old to 100 years old. They are not so active, but when they have a dancing, they are happy. And then it's very naturally, they use their muscle and the go, so have a good, better balance and the strengths. Okay, next. Normally, we think that the big boss, like a nurse leader, is just to help people with a lot of administration things, or do the injection, or do help the wound care. But in this photo, the central, that one is the nurse leader of this nursing home, which they invited volunteer and come here, and in the rush hour, but she still can play music for those elderly people, and the caregiver have together dancing. So this is a new perspective of us to think about what is a nurse and what is care, and what is how to manage in a nursing home. Their care ratio is similar with Taiwan, but how can they do that? So this is a secret. I think we can think about the reflection, maybe give us some hope for the future in Taiwan. Okay, next. This one, this one is a retired social worker, and those three are the lead. Had they ever been the leader of post office, Kurt, and architecture, because in Norway, Stavanger, this one organized a volunteer group which have some elite people had ever worked, have a knowledgeable person in society. So they help a lot of older people stay at home when they want to have do something with financial issue, or do the tax, or about the real estate. So those people can help them to be a very good consultant. So in this case, the old person living in Stavanger will not just have a phone call to the government and listen a lot of voice machine, and to listen the young staff very fast talking. So this organized. So we will see older women also can be a very good trigger to empower the other older men to come to participate in society and engage a wonderful service for help the other elderly people who are lonely and need help. Okay, next. This one is also in Stavanger. When we have the activity center, how we encourage the older people participate, have a good life, and as a prevention of health. So those two older women, they modified the airline company's stewardess uniform. So when they come here to serve coffee, they feel they have the dignity, and they are like just like a show about their uniform. And then so this atmosphere is both win-win for client and the guest, and the staff here. And they are volunteers, but they got some new nice experience compared if they stay at home. Okay, next. And this one is a retired pastor with Parkinson and Alzheimer's disease. But in Norway, Stavanger, this place, they have a missionary shop. Each missionary shop will have one year per year, we have 5 million new Taiwan dollars net income. So they have a lot of this kind of place. When they have this place, they want 2 person, 1 group for 4 hours, and to sell those kind of second-hand stuffs, and they are donated by the community. So they know what it is. They can talk, discuss, and repair those things. So they can engage the society and also have a good life. and also help a lot of people. When people come here, take a look, they have the ability to aware somebody which maybe is not so happy, so they can have a talk with them. So this missionary shop got some benefit for missionary to help the weak people, but also have a very good social contact with the local people who need help. So it's very good for the elderly woman and also for the society. Okay, next. And this one is 85 years old tour guide in Austria. This graveyard is the former prince of Austrian Empire, which was assassinated in break the First World War. But she is very well experienced about history. So even 85 years old, she still can have a job or even volunteer something here. And 85 years old is not mean weak. It means well experienced about his history. So he's have the authority to to explain what's going on and give the next generation more picture and facts about what's going on in the history, so they can have a new perspective about the future and get a good life. Okay, next. And these are very old. The left side is 85 years old. This one is over 70 years old. They are deacon, the help people, because here what they serve is people about 100 and 105 years old, older than them. So the elderly here can serve the elderly, which are weak people. So help each other is very good. Okay, next. Hello. I think I still have two left PowerPoint picture. If you didn't find, we can just finish here. But just what I have a conclusion is all of them, they feel they are beloved and they enjoy to give people some help. That's why they have the energy, so they can continue to do something for each other.
For sharing with us your unique experience. I would like to add that Professor Zhou has recorded his observations of elderly care in his book, Innovative Designs for Long-Term Care Services in Multiple Countries, Cooperation, Innovation, and Participation. Now, our honorary speaker, Madam Edna Adam Ismail, is ready to speak to us from her home in Somaliland. Before she starts, let me give you a very brief background of Madam Adam Ismail. She's one of the most influential women in Africa today. She's the first person to openly speak out against FGM and has been campaigning against the practice for over 60 years. She has won countless recognitions, including the prestigious Campbellton Prize 2023 last year, for her great contributions to women's health, gender equality, and public health. Now, Madam, the floor is yours. Madam Edna Adam Ismail, are you there? Are you online? Maybe while we're waiting for the Madam Edna Adam Ismail, we can take some questions and answers right now. We can move the session a little bit further, which is meant to be at later in the session. I believe we all are impressed by the presentations, which reflect the skills and the knowledge of the speakers and their unique work and the research results. Yes, please. Microphone, please.
Can you hear me now?
You hear us now, Madam?
Yes. Good morning. I'm calling you from Hargeisa, Somaliland.
Okay, now, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you put the first slide, please? Can you put the first slide? First slide. First slide. And the next, please. Yes. So I just want to tell you where my country is. It's in the Horn of Africa, between Djibouti and former Italian Somalia. In 1960, we had our independence. Next slide, please. Then we had a union with neighboring Somalia, which did not work out and ended in a civil world war. Next, please. This is what the war brought. Destroyed the country. 95% of the cities were destroyed, including hospitals, schools, homes, and private homes. Most health professionals were killed. Most 250,000 people were killed. And many people went to Ethiopia to seek shelter in refugee camps. Next, please. Now, before we could do anything, we had to rebuild the country. After we liberated our country, we had to rebuild the country. Bring our people back from refugee camps and try to rebuild a country, schools and education and health. In Somaliland, the elderly people are traditionally helped by their own families. We respect the elderly. We respect the old, the fathers, the grandfathers, the older members of the family. We don't have homes for elderly people. It's the family that takes care of the elderly. It's the young who take care of their parents. Because we have this strong tradition and values, it helped us to rebuild Somaliland and use our own resources. Next, please. Next slide. Now, because of the war, many people had to seek refuge in camps outside of Somaliland. Many people got separated. Many old people could not walk. Many old people had to be left with other people because they could not walk. When peace returned, they had to be found together to reunite families. Next, please. Next slide. Now, the only way we could reunite people with their families was through remembering their tribal lineage, the name of your father, your grandfather, the next grandfather. And children had to memorize all the names of their families for at least 20 grandfathers. This became their identity card. It gave them the name of their tribe, the village they come from, and to try and remember who their relatives were from the father's side and from their mother's side. This became our only way to reunite families. Next, please. The only way I could help the people, because I am a nurse, I am 86 years old now, but when I retired 27 years ago, I started to build a hospital in Hargeisa, Somaliland, which was opened in 2002. While the hospital was being built, I started to train health workers. Next, please. This was the construction of the site. So the construction was going on, and I was training my nurses, my midwives, the laboratory technicians, the pharmacists, who would be working in the hospital when it becomes completed. Next, please. We had to rely on demonstrations, practical demonstrations, using dolls, using the students themselves as examples to do dressings, to do how to lift a patient, to train the nurses. Because usually you train nurses in a hospital, but we had no hospital at that time. So we had to build a hospital and train the health workers. Next, please. These are the students, the nurses after they graduated. They were able to look after the young, and they were able to look after the old. This was the first group of trained, qualified nurses in Somaliland, and they graduated in 2003. Next, please. The construction of the hospital was also going on at the same time. Next, please. And this is the hospital when it opened in 2002. Next, please. 10 years later, we opened the university. Now we train qualified doctors, dentists, nurses, midwives, and with the training, we hope to improve the health of the people of Somaliland, whether they're young or whether they're old. And now Somaliland has reduced its mortality rate. The life expectancy of the people has improved. We have over 1,000 midwives in the country. We have hospitals in every region and every district in Somaliland. Next, please. Now, these are graduates, the first group of university graduate nurses with a bachelor's degree in nursing. Next, please. And now we have even female medical doctors. This is an example of a female surgeon being assisted by another female surgeon with a female anesthetist and with a female instrument nurse. Now, I'm showing you these pictures to show you the determination of the people of Somaliland, who have rebuilt that country after it was totally destroyed during the war. And if Somaliland can do it, one of the poorest countries in the world, in the Horn of Africa, then anybody can do it. And care must be available to every age. I am 86, I still work, I still teach, I still share my knowledge, my experience with all my students and my staff. I drive my car. I am self-sufficient. And this is what I would like available for every citizen in Somaliland, to be in good health, to be educated, and to be involved in rebuilding the country. Because in Somaliland, we rebuilt our country because Somaliland is not recognized internationally. I would be happy to answer questions. I know there is time limitations, but I hope I have given you a glimpse of this country that's called Somaliland, which I am very proud of, and which all of Africa should be proud of, because we have achieved so much more without any help than many other countries. And thank you very much for this opportunity to join this webinar and to share this experience with you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for your presentation, Madam Eden Ismail, which helped us to know about your country, your history, and your people, even a little bit, and especially your relentless humanitarian efforts advocating women's rights and promoting public health. Madam Edna Adam Ismail has won countless recognitions, including the prestigious Templeton Prize 2023. Let me quote the Templeton Prize statement, which says, Dr. Edna Adam Ismail is a nurse midwife, hospital founder, and healthcare advocate who has worked courageously to change social, religious, and medical norms surrounding women's health in East Africa, improving the lives of thousands of women and girls in the region and beyond. Thank you again for sharing your life story with us. Thank you. Now it's time for questions and answers. I saw several hands minutes ago. Yes. Number one, number two.
Okay. Moderator Yang and dear colleagues, I'm Shuti Cho, the former Director General of Taiwan's Health Promotion Administration, and also a professor of global health in National Yangming Jiao Tong University. I'd like to congratulate the organizers and moderator for this wonderful session with combination of several very innovative practices and perspectives on the care for older persons. I will save a few questions, just two questions. One for Madam Ismail and one for Director Chen of the Red Cross. For Madam Ismail, I would like to thank you for your tremendous contributions to improve the health system of your country. Actually, I have taught several postgraduate students from your country, and they are very brilliant and hardworking and very promising. So I would like to know, considering the restricted resources in your country, are you currently also developing some telemedicine to link experts and healthcare resources for example, in Taiwan or in other countries, to support diagnosis and telecare in your country? This is the question for Madam Ismail. And I also have a question for Director Chen of Red Cross. It's wonderful to see that you are using the family care caregiver resources of family members so that they can become future caregivers. I have been advocating for this model for some time. So I would like to know, in your program since 2019, among those who received your training, how many when entered the workforce market after they are completing their services for their own family members? 就说你们训练的这些家庭照顾者，你们也希望他未来可以成为照顾者其他人的家人嘛，对不对？所以有多少人他们现在是真的做了这个工作？那所以在所有的被训练者当中，% 多少后来已经去担任这个工作，然后累积了多少人年的这个付出？因为我觉得这样的一些分析数据是很能够彰显你们的这个 program 的一个实质的效益的啊。Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Ismail.
Yes.
Please answer.
Thank you very much for that question. Of course, telemedicine is a great technology, but it requires a few basic essential facilities. First, we need to have internet that is reliable. We need to have electricity. And we also need to have teachers who are trained in how to teach through telemedicine. This is something that we would like to develop because as Somaliland is developing and internet is becoming more available and more reliable than it was, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago, we would like to develop it more. We started doing some of it during the COVID shutdown, and we had to teach students in their homes and send them messages, usually through WhatsApp or email attachments. But it's an industry, it's a technology that we would like to develop, and we would very much welcome partnering with partners in Taiwan in how to train some people in how to do this better. I am happy that you have already some students from Somaliland in Taiwan. I was in Taiwan myself in October last year, and I met about, I think, 20 or 30 of them. I visited also the Tsinghua Christian Hospital, which we have an MOU partnership signed with them. And hopefully we will be sending some candidates there to be trained in those facilities. But Somaliland is ready for innovation, for improvement, and for catching up with the modern world, because we lost a long time in the war. So thank you for that question, and we are ready. My hospital is pioneering in doing that, and we would be very happy to collaborate with anybody who wishes to partner with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam. 那下面是不是请陈处长回答问题？那下一位问题请罗小姐。
谢谢您的提问。然后我先说明一下，就是我们的这个 USA 的这个家照的培训，它其实是针对一般的社区民众，所以它比较是属于在社区里面去宣导，然后让这些家庭照顾者知道，其实是可以再进一步的去学习专业的知识，然后可以去连接这些可以了解就是政府的长照政策，然后甚至是我们在这个课程里面去揭露 照顾产业是一个未来它有可能就是再回到这个社会，再走回职场的一个选项。那也非常谢谢您这边，其实我们觉得还蛮可惜的，我们没有针对这些社区民众去调查，到底未来他们有多少个人其实是不再担任家庭照顾者的时候，他们会愿意回到这个照顾产业里面。然后翻译。
Billy, please translate this.
Thank you for your question. And for the program we provide is only for the community person, and we just let the community person know who is already the family carers. He can join the family to join the program and learn more skills, and in the future they can connect to the government's elderly service program. And because we didn't do the surveys on how many people, once they finish the family care, to invest into the care industry, but maybe in the future we will try to do the survey and to see how many people you will, when they finish the family cares, they will enter the care industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have a question over there.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the president of the Zongta Club of Taipei 2. A couple of weeks ago, I read statistics about women leaders in Fortune 500 companies. It shows that only 8% of those companies use the women CEO. It means women CEOs are still very limited. When we're talking about gender equality, we are not only talking about Africa, India, we are talking about ourselves. So my question is to Dr. Joanna Lei. I know that she is a very successful professional vice president in US company. It's very difficult. So I would like to ask, do you have any suggestions for career women, how to break the glass ceiling if they are in their career? It's the first question. The second question is about our new project. Now we have a new project that is to build up help an organization to build a coffee shop in Pingdong. They are going to provide them the elder women there have their working opportunities. I think it's a very good idea. We want to help them. They have a passion. They have willing to help others, but they are lacking of professional knowledge. They do not have enough knowledge for sales and marketing, for business running. I know it's very hard, even for a normal person. So do you have any idea how to help those elder women to enhance their abilities in their in this good idea? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Lei, please.
Thank you. I'm surprised that I get this question, but this is a question that I often address other population or other audience. First, on your second question, I have loved a Japanese project in which elderly women, some slightly dementia, serve foods for their customers. Their customers, if order a pancake, may get an egg, but the customer understand that this is part of this community support and exercise. And I think you can find that short clips from internet. It is to say, when we build new innovative ideas, it is critically important. Let me turn around. It is critically important that we understand what we're doing that for And that human factor behind it will still take the quintessential position. And the individual benefit deriving from it will be more important than having a good business and large operation. So when we look at social enterprise, it's different from traditional enterprise, and it's different from NPO NGOs. So for your Pingdong project, I think it's very important for you to decide in that wide spectrum, maximizing profit, traditional company, and totally social service, traditional NPO NGO, where your operation would fit and how you design things around it and what population you intend to enhance their benefits. So that's number 2 question. Number 1 on women. I'm not the extreme expert, but I have learned from 2 really, really wonderful experts in Harvard. They wrote a book called Managerial Women, dissecting why the glass ceiling is not just mentality and it's not just structure. It takes a lot of different ways and approaches to go through it. And one of the most important lessons that I learned and oftentimes share as the number 1 lesson is I'm speaking generally, which is always dangerous. Women oftentimes focus on the performance of a specific task. And we oftentimes excel in the earlier stage by performing better than others. You type more words per minute than the others. You can do some tasks better than the others. You edit a better story than the others. We focus on the performance. While your colleague who are male, and there are lots of reasons why male and females operate differently in companies, he would also look at the other 2 structures, not just performance. He would look at the function within that operation and would try to fight to be part of the more important function or better fitted function. And that colleague of yours, once you reach the glass ceiling, will also look at a status. The pyramid of performance is where we focus on. The pyramid of function and the pyramid of status is sometimes your male counterpart will focus on. And that's a very long story. And in such a short time, I just want to allude to the fact that there are always 3 pyramids coexisting at the same time in whatever organization you are in. So if you're just focusing on the pyramid of performance, trying to excel, you might at the same time overlook the pyramid of function and overlook the pyramid of status and make yourself a very difficult person to work with. And that has always been and oftentimes been a stereotypical definition of a very well-achieved woman. Or sometimes that woman may be pigeonholed to say you are too important, so you cannot be promoted to other positions because this is the thing that you do the best and nobody can take your position. So you're either being labeled as the most difficult to work with or being pigeonholed to be too important to promote. And that would be the trap for a very well-achieved woman in a very large organization. But NPO NGO is entirely different. So I'm only sharing a corporate experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lei. I know you have more questions to learn from our presenters today, but our time for question and answers is up. The remaining 5 minutes are reserved for Dr. Lei for her closing remarks and recommendations. Dr. Lei.
First of all, as one of the organizers, thank you for joining us in a very meaningful session to rethink and reimagine our world going forward. Please give my last page, 最后一页. When we look at all these presentations, we saw remarkable leadership from Madame Ismail rebuilding her country from ground up. We saw extremely innovative programs caring for the land while building a community for the young. And we saw in the most advanced societies and welfare states in Europe, individuals have different kinds of opportunities to move beyond the stereotypical definition of aging. So let me try to bring a couple of things as our closing. When we meet together as women leaders, we must bring our scope to a larger world and our skills to better that world. So I'm going to use an acronym of ACT to conclude. It's not just an action plan, it's a time to act. We need to do three things. We need to advocate a different vision of the senior population with an extended scope of aging society solutions. We need to change or augment our existing programs or existing policies by bringing public, private, NPO, NGOs together, giving new programs, new policies, corresponding resources. We may be able to bring the implementation to the next stage to let them really grounded in each and individual society. Then we must also train those who are in the legacy societies with problems of non-skilled labor so that those non-skilled or low-skilled or non-skilled women, especially in those rural or underserved communities, can have an ability to go into a quote-unquote monetary economy. Their caretaking skills can be compensated. They can become wage-earning individuals, thereby enhance their economic equality. That is a very difficult position, especially we have a very large world event to care for. So let's rethink what the caretaking means and rethink what caretaking industry really is about. And hopefully in your individual positions, wherever you are, if you are the first lady, but she is not only the first lady, she was the first nurse in her land. What an incredible achievement. In a land where there were no nurse, she was the first nurse. And she not only built a medical profession, but she also built education opportunities for women and so on and so forth. So if you're in that position, you can actually change the policy. But if you are in everyday NPO, NGO, or corporate positions, we can still advocate. So advocacy to change our mindset is number one, to really change policy is number two, and to have the lagging societies and the women who are lowest in skill levels to also being able to brought in will be our mission. It is not something that's nice to have. It is something that's must have. When we talk about equality, it's not equality of some. It has to be equality of all. So ladies and gentlemen, and mostly ladies, our founder of this organization have always asked us to shoulder responsibilities. And I think if we put ourselves in that position to shoulder responsibilities to build or design a new world, a better world, and in which hopefully older people like me is not a part of the problem, but a part of the solution. Thank you so much.
Now, dear participants and of course speakers, thank you for joining us today for this very fruitful and successful parallel event. I thank you for coming and keep in touch. Thank you and have a good day.